This short demonstration will show how to use the Lozen connector for Micro Focus to access VSAM data on IBM Z from your distributed COBOL programs. The File Handler API was implemented and published by Micro Focus to allow custom file handling by COBOL programs using standard COBOL file I/O syntax. Using the callable file handler, an external library can serve as file I/O requests without any modification to your COBOL program. By implementing the File Handler API, we can leverage Lozen to directly access VSAM data residing on IBM Z from COBOL programs running on Linux and Windows. Let's look at the Micro Focus Enterprise Server Administration UI on our Windows server. Here we can see in the Micro Focus ES file catalog a list of the VSAM files we have linked to our IBM Z mainframe. We have defined an application in Micro Focus ES called Bank Demo. This application will be used to prepare a bank customer account statement that includes all the customer accounts plus transactions for the current month. Using the admin UI, we can see the various configuration and runtime options for the application. This includes startup parameters such as where to write log files, how much shared memory to allocate, whether to show the console, and other options. Now let's take a look at one of the COBOL programs we will use for this application. We can see that we are specifying an account information file which can be read sequentially through its base index. We also will access a customer information file and an account transaction file, both of which will be open for random access. The account info file can be read for either the entire file or for just a specific customer. As we process the three different files, we read the data for all the customer account types, including the transactions for the current period. This data will be written to an extract file that is then input to a sort job step. The sorted output from the sort is then processed by a print step to format the transaction report. Let's return to the ES Admin UI to take a look at our job start options. Since we are using JES emulation to initiate the job, we can input a JCL file for the job here. We can also connect printers and start initiators before we submit the job. As we click Submit, we see the job starting in the console log. We click View Job to see the details of the submitted, now running job. Looking at the log messages, we notice that an exec parm of B0004 has been passed to the job. This tells our program to read only the records for that specific customer. As the job completes, we can check the messages showing which records were read from the files accessed by the program with record counts. We also see that the extract file was successfully created so it can be opened by the sort job step. Scrolling down to the list of DD entries, we can view the print output file to see the formatted account transaction statement. Using the power of Lozen, coupled with the Micro Focus Enterprise Server, COBOL compiler, and the callable File Handler API, we can move our mainframe COBOL programs and JCL to distributed and cloud platforms without changing the COBOL source in any way. By leaving the data on the mainframe, we can remove the risk and expense of copying the data while also avoiding the cost and operational complexity of keeping that data in sync across platforms. Thank you for your time and attention. For further information, please contact us via email, phone, or social media.